Hey, and welcome to English Coffee House. I'm Daria.
And I'm Chris. We're really happy you're here with us.
Get comfortable.
And let's start with today's conversation.
You know what I noticed the other day? I was making coffee at home around 10 in the morning, and I just stopped for a second, just stood there by the window. And I thought, I would never have had this moment if I were commuting right now.
That kind of moment is hard to explain to someone who's never worked remotely. Like, it sounds so small, standing by a window with a coffee, but there's something in it, a kind of breathing room that you don't get when your day is completely structured for you.
Exactly. And it made me think, does remote work actually change how you experience the rest of your life? Not just the work itself, but everything around it.
I think it does, but maybe not always in the way people expect. Because at first I thought, great, more freedom. And then I realized that freedom needs a shape. Otherwise, it just becomes noise. You're home, but you're somehow never really off.
That's the thing, isn't it? The lines get blurry. I remember the first few months of working from home, I would answer emails at 9 at night and not even question it because I was already home, already comfortable. It didn't feel like overtime, but it was.
Yeah, that's a strange kind of trap. It looks like flexibility, but it can quietly become this thing where work is just always present, always nearby.
And yet, I don't think I'd go back to an office full time. Not because offices are bad, but because I've learned things about myself that I just didn't have space to learn before.
Like what?
Like, I work better in the morning, and I need actual silence for certain kinds of thinking. Open offices were never really built for that. All that noise, all that movement. I thought I was fine with it, but when the noise stopped, I realized how much energy I was using just to block it out.
That's interesting, because for me it was almost the opposite at first. I missed the noise. Not the stress of it, but the texture. People walking by, small conversations, that feeling of being in something together.
Do you still miss it?
Sometimes. Less than I used to. I think I found other ways to get that feeling, like I'll go work from a cafe for an afternoon just to be around people without actually being interrupted. Best of both worlds, maybe.
That's a nice balance, and I think that's what a lot of people are figuring out. It's not really remote versus office. It's more like, what kind of environment brings out the best version of you? And that's a very personal answer.
Right, and it's also allowed to change. What worked for me 2 years ago isn't exactly what I need now.
That's true. I think the conversation around remote work sometimes gets too rigid, like people need to pick a side. But real life is more nuanced than that.
Much more. And honestly, I think the more interesting question isn't, is remote work better? It's, what does it reveal about how you want to live?
Yeah, because it puts a lot of choices back in your hands. And that's both the gift and the challenge of it.
It asks you to know yourself a little better, which most of us are still figuring out.
Aren't we always?
I think what surprised me most, honestly, was how remote work changed my relationship with time. Not just how I use it, but how I think about it.
What do you mean?
Well, before, time was this thing that was mostly decided for you. You were somewhere at 9, somewhere else at 6. The day had a shape that came from the outside, and now I have to give it a shape myself. And some days I'm good at that. Other days I'm really not.
I know that feeling. There's a kind of skill to structuring your own day that nobody really teaches you. You just have to find it through trial and error.
A lot of error in my case. I went through a phase where I was incredibly productive for about 3 weeks, had this perfect routine, and then one small thing disrupted it and the whole thing just collapsed.
Because it was too tight.
Exactly. Too perfect to be real. Real days don't behave like that.
I think I built in intentional gaps after a while. Like I stopped trying to account for every hour and just needed anchor points. A start, a lunch, an end. Everything else could breathe around those.
That sounds much healthier than what I was doing.
It took me a while to get there. And I still have days where I just drift, where 3 in the afternoon arrives and I'm not sure what I actually did.
And how do you feel about those days now? Do you still judge yourself for them?
Less than I used to. I think I used to feel like every day had to be justified, like I needed to prove I was actually working, even just to myself. That pressure was exhausting.
I think that comes from the visibility thing. In an office, people can see you. You don't have to prove you're there. But at home, that proof has to come from somewhere else, from output, from results, from, I don't know, looking busy on a video call.
Which is its own kind of performance.
A strange one, because sometimes the most productive thing I do all day happens in 20 minutes of very quiet thinking, and that looks like nothing from the outside.
And you can't really show that in a status update.
No, was staring at the wall had a breakthrough.
I would actually respect that status update.
Maybe we should normalize that.
Maybe we should. I think there's something in that, though. The idea that not all valuable work looks like work, and remote life kind of forces you to sit with that, to trust yourself a little more.
Or to learn how to. It's not automatic. It's more like something you grow into.
Slowly, and with a lot of coffee, in my experience.
Always with coffee.
You know what I keep coming back to, though? This whole conversation, remote work, structure, time, freedom, it all circles back to something simpler.
What's that?
Just how you want your days to feel. Not what you want to achieve in them, but the actual texture of them. Whether they feel rushed or specious, heavy or light.
And I think most people don't get to ask that question until something changes. A new job, a move, a global pandemic. Something forces a reset, and suddenly you're looking at your life from a slightly different angle.
And you realize some of the things you just accepted, the commute, the schedule, the noise, you accepted them because they were simply there, not because they were actually right for you.
Which isn't a criticism of anyone. That's just how life works mostly. You inherit a shape and you live inside it until you don't.
Until something makes you notice the walls.
Yeah, and then you get to decide whether to redecorate or find a different room entirely.
I like that.
Remote work gave me that moment, I think. That pause, like your coffee by the window.
Small moments, but they add up.
They really do. I think that's what changes most in the end. Not where you work, but how present you are inside your own life.
And maybe that's the whole point.
Maybe it always was.
Thanks for spending this time with us.
We really enjoyed having you here and sharing this conversation.
Keep listening
And we'll see you soon.
here at English Coffee House.